Senator Jerry Ortiz Pino, and I am asking him questions about the Doña County clerk issuing same-sex marriage licenses starting today. Senator Ortiz Pino, how do you feel about this personally?
Well, I mean, I think pretty clearly if we don't, we're discriminated against somebody simply on the basis of their sexual orientation. And I think personally that's wrong. So I think we should be issuing licenses to any two people who want to make a lifetime commitment to one another. This is something we really want in our society. It's not something that we should treat somehow as a danger or a menace. This is good for society. So that's my personal belief, that any way we can get there, we ought to be getting there. Now, the county clerk in Sandoval tried the same thing a few years ago, because New Mexico is the one state that doesn't spell out in its constitution that marriage has to be between a man and a woman. And so for years, the argument has been, there's no reason not to. We don't have any exclusion. Our Attorney General pointed this out, but then he stopped short of saying, yeah, so they should begin issuing. There's no reason not to issue marriage licenses. I think the Supreme Court is going to have to make the final decision, but I think it just adds to the pressure for them to act when county clerks read the Constitution and see an application from two people and say, yeah, of course, no reason not to. Here you are, here's your marriage license. And ultimately, I think the court will agree that that's the right thing to do. It just has to happen sooner or later. The legislature acts by a different set of standards, and we may not ever reach that point of being able to do it by legislative initiative, or at least in the next year or two. I think certainly in a few years it'll happen in every state across the country. But we have that unique situation in New Mexico where we don't have to take that step. We already have constitutional basis for issuing it. And once the courts decide, then the legislature doesn't have to get into those murky waters. We can just stand back and let it happen, and it'll be good for the state.
Do you think this will add impetus to conservative groups to try and get a same-sex marriage ban passed in New Mexico?
They might, but they won't be able to. I don't think they've got, we may not have enough to just declare marriage is a right that should be exercised by anybody without regard to their sexual orientation. We may fall short of that, but I think they're going to fall short of trying to ban it outright. It's too clearly discriminatory. And if they were to pass that, then we would take that to court, because the court would certainly rule that it's discriminatory. And I think they're going to rule that anyhow. If the court rules it, the legislature doesn't have to deal with it, and we're probably better off not dealing with it.
Excellent. Thank you very much, Senator Jerry Ortiz Pino.
Good to see you.
You too.